Okay, this is a video diary. I thought this was important enough to go ahead and do a video diary. I put it in the descriptions of the last video. Well, I spoke with my sister today out the blue. She stopped by only for a few minutes. So it was apparent that she was going through some kind of distress. Okay, these are just things that we just both have to normalize and just ignore. So it was clear that she's in some kind of distressing situation that she refuses to talk about, along with a multitude of other family members. So we all just have to sit in this chaos and pretend like everything's normal. So I tried to question, because these is family and loved ones, and if you feel your life is in jeopardy, you want your family to be aware of the chaos you're going through. And I did ask her, I tried to inform her in the past, and they would hang up and diminish my experience and, disregard and ignore. So I did tell them multiple times I would like a support system, because there's a multitude of parties that are involved in violating and disregarding my experience. When you're in a domestic violence situation, the really important thing of that experience is to have a support system. That is one of the number one things for domestic violence victims. And if you're a brilliant abuser that has a lot of power that you can abuse, you want to take that away from the person you're violating. You want to take that ability to have a support system that adds to the trauma. But typically abusers can't torture family members to be a part of your abuse. They can't typically enlist churches and all these parties, every last domestic violence organization, to the extreme of arresting and assaulting the party that you're violating. Multitude of parties don't have that kind of power to abuse. So anyway, about my sister's situation, so I tried to tell her that I would like a support system, and then I told her that I haven't really been able to communicate my experiences, and she completely disregarded it. She changed the topic. This is what all of them do. So you mean to tell me in the past I would try to tell you, please let me tell you, my life is in jeopardy, living in the tent on the street, getting violated by community, because it's gang stalking, things that I can't even communicate because it's not realistic. So living in a community stalking and gang stalking and community harassment schemes, forced to live outside in a tent, police coming. And I cannot tell anyone on the planet my experiences. Everyone that I contacted, including churches, cover for it and will not validate the experience, including my family. So it was nice to see her today, but they're not going, period, to be a support system for whatever reason that is. My family refuses children that I birth. They will not be a support system, disregard and ignore it. I'm just not quite sure why family members would do that. It may have something to do with with my son getting hit with the car and police covering for it. It may have something to do with all these gang stalkers coming out of my sister, and she was trying to pretend like it was normal. Maybe, and then all the meltdowns, and then she kept ignoring it, all the terror that she was in, and then the police came. The police came, and the police claimed that she said that I was mentally ill, my own sister. Why was she in terror? I have never seen a human being that terrified in my life. Whatever was going on with her, she didn't want to talk about and hid my mail and did all kinds of things that you wouldn't believe, so I just won't go into. But her, as well as another party, they were the most terrified that I've never seen a human being in person that terrified in my life. Something had them completely terrified. So after that experience, she withheld my mail. The police showed up and said that I was having a mental breakdown. Another lie, multitude of them, like 4. And it was a blatant lie. 4 police came because I was having a mental crisis. And then I said, when the police were there, and then I think I started to record them. I didn't have the YouTube channel. And I said, I have multiple false arrests. And then you came out of nowhere saying I'm having a mental breakdown. So then they left because I started to record it. Then there was a more abuse in the community stalking, which I can't report because it's not realistic. Communities are enlisted into stalking and harassment schemes, which doesn't sound realistic. But what is more problematic to me is reaching out to churches and your family. What kind of experience would have family members? Why did the stepmom call me and start arguments? Why was my family call me and start arguments when my abuser was mad? These are things that I can't report. Why when they would purposely try to torture me emotionally. And I just really, it's just not realistic. How would they try to torture me emotionally? They would lie, blatantly lie, and said I did things that did things that I didn't do, and schemes, and to validate the reasoning for them abandoning me in my experience. So they would lie. Like another son said that I stole money from him, which was a blatant lie. And I said, well, give me evidence that this money disappeared and I'll pay it, and he won't provide it. But he's trying to validate the reason why he hasn't been. I mean, he's came up with multiple lies. The first one is because I was mentally ill. They won't talk about Tristan getting hit with the car. They won't talk about the false arrest. They won't talk about anything on my YouTube channel, but the mental illness, they want to exaggerate and emphasize that. Then he said that if you got help, I'd talk to you, because they want to frame me for mental illness. So then I told him I was trying to get counseling. They were depriving me from of the counseling. I was seeing people at Metro PC, at Metro Care. I was forced into doing it. So Metro Care, I told him that. Then he came up with another con on why we couldn't see each other. Then they have a con going on with my daughter. Then the police showed up at my son's school. That's not normal for police to interrupt a parent seeing their child at school, taking them, because I will eat I've come up to the school and I eat lunch with my child. I go to his games. They wanted to interrupt that. They had the power to abuse. So they just came, interrupted, and gave me a criminal trespass. They come out personally with this chaos. They didn't care. They were hired gangsters. They did not care, and they did it and got away with it. It's time for me to start my I'm off break. Well, that's just a video diary of my experiences.